This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so beautiful morning so far. I already had a couple adventures so far this morning. One was good, one was funny.
Mm-hmm.
So that worked out rather well.
Okay.
First one, I'm driving on into work, 30 mile an hour zone, and there's a guy right on my ass. So I speed up to 35, still there. 40, still there. 30 mile zone, I do 45 miles an hour. He's still right on my ass, so I slammed on my brakes. He went into he hit him so hard, his car actually turned sideways a little bit. And then he decided that he was going to be a tough guy and he was going to pull over and, give me the, so I just gave him the, come here, come on over.
Bring it.
It's candy ass. But to show you there's a nice balance in the world. I keep telling everybody, there's the far left, there's the far right, there's Democrats, there's Republicans, and then there's all of us in the middle watching you all hate one another, I'm going to work with the rest of my life to make sure that people move toward the middle. You come near me, move toward the middle, or get the hell away from me. Yes. Those are the extreme opinions. They're all about making money. You know that. I hope you understand you being pissed off at your neighbor just because they don't agree with you is making money for some politician. That's a fact. I still want to know how people like Nancy Pelosi, whose dad was he was the governor of Maryland.
Something like that, I believe.
Yeah,
Maryland.
She didn't necessarily have.
She wasn't struggling growing up.
The coal miner parent, or that type of thing.
But how did she get to be a billionaire? That's what I want to know.
It's a lot of intuition in the stock market. It seems
intuition. That's right. The great thing about that is it's the one thing adopted, because back in my day, it was the conservatives that were all the rich people. The rich people were all very, very conservative. But then they figured out if they went to the far left, that's where the real money is, because that's where most of the population is, right? It's always been a money game. So calm down with your politics. Meet Uncle Tommy in the middle. We'll be fine.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a construction worker on the third floor here. When I got here this morning, I got here at like 6 o'clock, something like that. I went for my walk around here. It's beautiful. I loved it. But as I'm walking along, this construction guy coming the other way, he said, "Good morning. How you doing today?" I said, "Not too bad." And then he stops to talk to me. He was very, very pleasant, very nice guy, very friendly, wished me a good morning, the whole deal. And I thought, well, there's the balance. Got a prick on the, behind the wheel. He's a prick because he's driving a huge machine. So now he's a tough guy.
Yep.
And then there's a guy just trying to work, trying to make a living. Couldn't have been more pleasant.
I know exactly what that conversation, though, is in his mind. That is I'm walking from one site to another or something along those lines, and how can I elongate this walk?
So you don't think he was being polite? You think he was using me?
I'm going to say yes and no. I think A, he probably had a genuine interest in a conversation with you, but also B, you killed another 5-10 minutes of his workday with part of that conversation. So
should I make him retract it because he's a listener? You pill. Attacking our listeners.
I think he would agree with me.
Yeah, it was a mutually beneficial conversation.
Yes.
Oh, listen to you two hunyucks. No wonder your generation's destroying the planet.
I'm just imagining this guy walking around the building like, who can I talk to? Who can I talk to?
Oh my God. You guys are destroying the planet with that attitude. No love for anybody but yourself. More me now is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's absolutely what I'm saying, Uncle Tommy. That's exactly right. So is there anything worth even looking at in the news this morning?
I know I'm sure we'll get to it with Judd, but I know the Timberwolves basically traded a 12-year-old for
that's what I heard
for a guy last night.
Oh, the NBA is such a wild place where you can trade picks like 10 years from now. And so you're like, this will be somebody else's problem.
6 years from now, right?
It's a 2031 draft pick. I don't understand how that's allowed in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like there's so much can happen.
Yep. It's like the sales department at Hubbard, like selling advertising space just on a show 6 years from now. Like,
it works for me. Works for me. That's all I have to say. Oh, that's right. Tonight is the Biden-Trump debate. It takes shape as a clash with no love lost. Well, Why is that a headline? Everybody knows that.
What are you promoting the UFC?
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of UFC type of situation. I have no interest in watching this debate whatsoever because it's going to be, you're a pig. No, you are.
Yeah, no interest at all.
Yeah, I mean, is anybody going to watch this debate?
Unfortunately, yes, because
Yeah.
I have stuff going on, but otherwise, if I was home, I feel like I'm obligated to at least turn on for a little bit. My problem with presidential debates is that they've devolved into there's no organization, there's no actual conversation.
Yep.
Right.
I need like allotted times on the mic. If you're not talking, your mic needs to be off so you can't interrupt. And I need fact checking happening live.
Yes.
That's my biggest thing because they let it go and then it's like afterwards. Well, now let's go through and talk about what was maybe stretched or what was totally a blatant lie. I need it happening on the spot.
Yes, and I want it to be like internet sleuths. I don't want it to be like Biden's right-hand man or Trump's right-hand man that's fact-checking for him. I want like me and you sitting down with a computer like, actually, sir, this is what I was able to find out on it.
It's a complete BS.
Yes. So
does anyone know who's not really hosting the debate, but kind of managing the debate? I have no idea who the
I'll look it up.
The guy
The
or the
moderator
woman would be. The moderator. There you go. That's exactly very good. Very good. Right
I know
there.
some things.
Yeah. Not any about getting along with humans, but
No,
other than that,
no.
It's worked out well.
Looks like tonight it'll be moderated by CNN anchors Jake Tapper and Dana Bash.
So that's going to go real smoothly for Trump then.
It'll take place on CNN's Atlanta studios with the moderators for the 90-minute event. Tapper and Bash will be running the show. Now
I know I'm not going to watch it. Why don't you just get the other Hun Yucks over? What's that guy's name on at night on Fox News? I can never remember their names because I don't watch that shit.
He's like,
no, Tucker's long gone apparently.
Okay, see, that's I don't watch.
He got fired like 2 years ago.
Well, there you go.
Well, I don't blame you for not watching it. I don't watch it anymore. I used to, and it drove me nuts.
I couldn't name more than like Lester Holt as like a
Lester Holt.
Isn't Fox News the one blonde white lady?
I think that's half of
that
them.
makes like a bunch of headlines all the time.
Oh, you're talking about
Megyn
Laura
Kelly?
Yeah.
No, she hadn't been there like 5 years.
Is Don Lemon still on CNN?
No, he's not. As a matter of fact, he got fired too. So, what the hell's her name? Laura Ingraham. That's who you're.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, he was actually thinking about the other one though.
No, I was the Megyn Kelly. Yeah, I was thinking.
Where
about
did she go? She went somewhere and then didn't last there either.
I don't know, but I feel like she's just always yelling when she's
good-looking woman though. Very pleasant looking, don't you think?
Yeah, she's definitely
Tevin,
cute.
what do you think?
Why can't I remember the name of that guy that does like the 6 to 8 show or the 7 to 9 show on Fox News?
I have no idea.
What the hell's his name? I can see his face, but he's way far right.
Okay.
So that's, let's have a debate, and it's going to be really leaning either far right or far left.
Well, let's see. Maybe they batten down the hatches.
Uh-huh.
I choose to be an optimist, Tom. Some of us want to have a positive outlook on the world.
Okay, let me look at your positive outlook. The last time I did watch Jake Tapper, who's the host of the debate, he said, well, you can say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but he's a convicted felon. It's like they're in appeal. Calm down.
So you thinking about Pete Hegseth for Fox?
No, Pete Hegseth's on in the morning. He's from Minnesota.
Okay.
Pain in the ass, by the way.
Also, Fox News definitely has a type of female anchor that they're shooting for.
Oh, yes.
They are all blonde,
Yep.
like relatively the same level of attractiveness and all symmetrically kind of the same. They're all sisters.
Stop talking about women like that. You know what happened to me last night coming out of my building?
What's that?
Ran into a guy, about probably 85 years old.
Okay.
He walks past Catherine and me. We're going to go out and walk the dog. Walks past Catherine and me, and he stops, and he looks at Catherine, and he goes, "Are you married?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's my husband." He looks at me and goes, "How'd you do that?" And walks up. I was like, "Shut up, you pain in the ass. Why don't you make my life harder?"
God, your neighbors sound like a hoot.
No, the guy was very funny, actually. He was very, very funny, no question about it. One thing before we move on, because we do have to move on, but we're buying some other furniture for the new house because our old furniture was kind of big stuff and
Absolutely.
kind of downsized. You know what Catherine did?
What's that?
She went on Messenger to buy a couch that she wanted, and they said that you had to put $100 down through Messenger.
Nope.
Never saw. As soon as she told me the guy's name, I said, "Uh-oh, you got taken for $100." She goes, No. I said, "What's his name?" Ryan Sanders. I believe he's a pitcher in the major leagues. I believe another Ryan Sanders just got imprisoned for murder for the rest of his life for kidnapping and slaughtering a woman.
Jeez.
There are like 6 different Ryan Sanders. They go from pitchers to murderers.
So she either like paid a wealthy former pitcher or put money on somebody's commissary books. In prison.
Exactly. Don't ever send people money through Messenger. Ever.
No. And if you're gonna buy something off like Facebook Marketplace, just do cash when you get there.
Yes.
That's what we were gonna do. That's what I brought home, and I went, well, Catherine, when we go, why don't you go have a glass of wine? I'll have a Diet Coke, and hey, thank God it was only $100. I'm glad it wasn't. Why don't you just pay for the whole thing and then I'll bring it over?
Yeah. Was that Barnard? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The price just went up. It's $1,000 now.
I'm really happy it wasn't $1,000 because it could have been right out the window. We have to take a break. Be right back in a couple of seconds. Judd for the defense will be up with us next. K&L Surplus and Ammo, Atlanta Lakes, my choice for firearms and ammunition. Jim, the owner, one of the most knowledgeable people in the business, has a great selection of all the brands like Benelli, Tika, Beretta, and SKB. I know hunting season's a ways off, but if you're thinking about getting something, let's say, new for the upcoming season, hey, that's not a bad idea. Get a new weapon. Now's actually a great time to start looking. And by the way, I just mentioned that to you guys, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if a guy came to our house and then tried to hit my wife up for extra money, I think they'd see Uncle Tommy's 357 real quickly.
Look what I got at K&L.
Well, look at this. You're pushing my wife for more money, and I have a gun. What do you think? The advances in rifle and shotgun technology over the last few years is amazing. If you're using something that's more than 10 years old, you might be missing out on better performance and better results. If there's anyone that can help you get the right gun for hunting this fall, it would be Jim at K&L Surplus and Ammo. Does a great job. K&L Surplus and Amazon Lake Drive in Atlanta Lakes and open Tuesday through Saturday. Call them at 763-757-2614, or you can also visit them online at www.klgunstore.com.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Lindell and My Pillow employees, I want to thank my listeners for all of your continued support. Thank you. They're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever when you use promo code TOM, and you get free shipping on your entire order. What do you think of that? Get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98, and take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything's on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb, dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146 and use promo code TOM, and you get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146 or go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Yeah, damn right you are. You're listening to Judd Zulgad from SKOR North, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Judd, we've already mentioned this, but we're trying to figure out. Mm-hmm. I did this morning, and I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but I can talk about it now. I actually just yesterday, traded you for a guy who's going to appear on the show 7 years from now. So what do you think?
Oh, it sounds great. Bright upcoming prospect.
What is this now? You can trade players for a guy 7 years from now? What?
You could trade draft picks. Yeah. The because of how the draft is constructed and because the Wolves because of the Gobert trade have, I guess what you would call limitations on what they can do. They gave up a pick for a kid they gave up a pick of a kid who's in 8th grade right now for a draft pick currently.
I love that.
It's basically, if you think it through, it's the Wimpy trade. I'll trade you. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
That's very.
It's always pushing it down the road. It's the Wimpy philosophy, and who doesn't like Wimpy?
I love Wimpy. Wimpy was wonderful. I would gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Wimpy loved those burgers, man. Guys, he loved those burgers.
Well, it kind of showed. He had a bit of a gut on him.
Yeah, he wasn't in real good shape. Probably.
You guys even know who Wimpy is?
I'm looking him up right now.
Oh, yeah, high cholesterol.
I have no idea.
Popeye, yeah.
Popeye, yeah. Popeye now, he was in fantastic shape.
Popeye had some big old forearms, I'll tell you that, man. There's no question about that.
I think in retrospect, he was probably on roids, don't you?
Oh, there's no question about it. There's no doubt.
He was cheating.
Yeah.
His arms look like they should have been flipped around because his forearms look like the size of biceps, and the biceps look like the size of like a wrist.
They're tiny. Yeah. That's hilarious. It's very good. But I tell you what, that voice, whoever did and his girlfriend, Olive, he pronounced it Olivesga. Olivesga. Where did the gun come from? What?
You did have a great voice, though. You are right.
Great. Who that was? That's how he laughed. I loved Popeye. You just gave me some great memories. Thank you.
I'm glad.
Jack Mercer?
Yeah.
Was
Jack
the voice
Mercer.
of
Is that Johnny Mercer's brother?
Yeah, a little older brother, yeah.
Okay, that's what it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we got draft pick 7 years. Like you said, I love the fact you pointed out the kid's now in 8th grade.
Yeah, that was pointed out a lot on Twitter last night, that it was a kid in 8th grade right now, which is just fantastic. But I mean, it looks like a good draft, and I will say it has been. I don't know if I can remember the last time that it felt like the Wolves were this well run, and they're going to spend. They keep flying past all these taxes that you have to pay in extra on. So enjoy it while it lasts. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
They're trying to win. They're trying to win, which is good. So, and hey, the Twins won last night.
Yeah, last I saw, because I was busy. We're in the middle of like a month-long move. God, it's just God. It's unbelievable. But I last I saw they were up 3-0, a couple of home runs in the 2nd or 3rd inning, something like that.
They won 8-3, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 8-3.
8-3, and like I said, I think the last I checked was the 3rd inning, and they were up 3-0.
Yeah, they loaded the bases in the top of the 2nd, I think, and Jose Miranda cleared them. So, but they just they steamrolled them last night, and then they play the final game this afternoon. As we talked about last night or yesterday, if they can win series, they'll be in good shape. They got to win series, and Cleveland lost.
Oh God, thank God! I was waiting for that.
It finally happened.
The whole time. Good, glad to hear it. Guardian bastards. What the hell's a Guardian anyway? Come up with a better name than that.
It's their actually, it is named for. If you look at the time, I saw this. On the bridge, it must be the most famous bridge in Cleveland. There are these big statues that are called guardians.
Right.
Okay,
they're
the
guardians of traffic or something like that. Right?
The guardians of traffic.
You're probably right, Age.
I think so. Because I remember reading that, I was like, this is really underwhelming.
You know what I would do, and I'm very serious, but I tend to like to poke the bear, as you know.
No.
So if the name Cleveland Indians is offensive, then I would have balanced the scales by, for the next 100 years, calling my team the Cleveland Polacks. What do you think?
Just every 10 years, you just offend a new group of people.
Offend a new group of people. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. Perfect. I think it's wonderful.
What's the logo for the Polacks?
The Polacks?
Just a pierogi.
I like it. That works for me.
Delicious.
I love pierogies. Pierogies are wonderful.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So, but it's great, though. So Cleveland lost. Twins won. They're setting up TVs up at the new house today, so I can actually watch TV for the first time in about a week.
Wow, this is a slow process.
Oh, it's going to take
You went
forever.
that long without, man. Like when I move, first thing in TVs.
I didn't realize this, but Andy recommended a TV for me, and Andy's really good with all that kind of stuff. They delivered them yesterday. I did not realize the TV was going to cover like an entire wall. The thing is gigantic. My God.
Nice.
64 inches, I think it is. Something like that.
Very nice.
Big ass television.
Well, and they're so light now.
Yeah, that's what I understand. They're going to come and mount them today. My buddy Ben, I ran to him in the hall over at the new place, and he's a big listener. He looks like about maybe 25, 30 years old.
Nice.
Big listener to the show. He loves the show. So I actually, he was putting somebody else's in. So I said, hey, I got to hire you to install our television. So, he listens to the show. So I support him, right?
That's how it works, man. That's fantastic.
Horn tootin', man. No question about it.
Good stuff.
What else happened in the sports world? Anything good?
Well, the Wolves draft because of the trade, as we just talked about for the 8th grade kid, got people excited. So that's good. Twins win. Yeah, there's, it's, I don't want to say it's slow because there's still stuff going on, but it is the time of the year because training camp for the Vikings doesn't start for about another month, where it does slow down a bit. But as you talked about, you got the debate tonight, so I don't know what more you could want.
I just do love that fact. You got two guys who are 102 years old debating on a channel that's way far left, and last year they did it on the way far right one. I mean, it's just.
Have you guys not looked though at the rules tonight?
No, what are the rules?
Oh, Google this. Okay, so they have mute buttons. They've got so they can basically, because of Trump, when he's not talking, if he starts to talk, you can't hear him.
Good.
Like they're totally in control. It's a little bit like a souped up boxing match. Like they've got all of these stipulations about what they can, what's like they are going to be, they decided after the last go around that they are going to be in complete control. And I don't know if it's going to work because I'm sure Trump will still yell, but it's going to be interesting.
They're not allowed to have notes either.
There's a lot of stuff. They've
crazy.
like redesigned this whole thing. It literally has become like a debate between two toddlers.
There you go. Well, that's pretty much what we got. Brain power.
Yeah, they only get like a legal pad and a pen for what they can bring out to the stage, and then both campaigns, I guess, have agreed to mics being muted at times so they can get points across.
Can they doodle?
I'm sure they can do it.
They could doodle.
They can doodle
on the pad. Can they doodle?
I want to see what the notepads look like after the debate.
What are the odds on like Trump writing down like loser with like an arrow? And
he just holds it up.
Yeah. It's true. You notice I stay out of these things now, and you know why I do stay out of these things? Because it's not a presidential thing for me. When Donald Trump was president, he invited me to have dinner with him one time. So I've met him a few times, and so I have no right to comment on any of that stuff because I know one of the guys. I've never met Biden. I don't know anything about him. Michael Bryant has. I know that, but I don't think it's if you've met the guy. And by the way, Donald Trump is nothing like that in person. Nothing like it. That's an act, 100% act, which I don't really like that he does that. But yeah, so that's why I stay out of these things because I know one guy and I don't know the other one. So that's not really fair.
Yeah. I just want to see like how these debates work from a tactical standpoint now.
God.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want. The muting of the I mean, come on. This is like did you ever think in your lifetime that we would see presidential debates have to be not just moderated, but controlled electronically? Like, think about how incredible this is.
Yeah, it sounds more like around the horn than it does a presidential debate.
Well put.
Yep, that's true.
Around the horn. They should ask them sports questions. Just throw some curveballs in. Screw it.
No question about it. Yeah, I just, as far as the appearances they make, both Trump and Biden, I'm not wild on either one of them. They're both putting on an act, and I really don't like that. You're going to be the president. Stop putting on an act. What do you say?
Yeah, but that's politics now completely,
I know,
right?
You're
that's
right.
all politics, it feels
You're
like.
right.
Like, I don't know that we know anyone who is a politician now or feel like we do. You know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right. I don't. I used to know, all the senators and the governors and all that stuff. I don't know any of those people anymore. I know who they are, but I've never met any of them.
Right, but when you see him also, there's a lot of personaing going on, you know? It's not like a lot of sincerity. And I mean, I'm not saying that politicians were ever really all that sincere, but now it just feels like it's just all an act.
What's really funny about that, though, thinking about that, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I used to hang out with, United States senators and state governors and all these big time politicians. And then as soon as I couldn't help them anymore, I never heard from them again.
No.
It's hilarious.
No way. I can't believe that. These people, no, they
Isn't that hard to believe?
That is really hard. Here's my question. How, with the direction that we're going, how close are we to a president basically being the presidency being a reality show where we're in the White House?
Well, it's kind of like The Apprentice, isn't it? Wasn't that Trump's show, The Apprentice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It kind of is now. You're right. It's headed that way.
But I mean, I feel like we're close to being in a White House that is all mic'd and, cameras and mics everywhere.
Yep.
And like being able to watch the whole thing unfold, which would be very frightening, but it doesn't feel that far off depending on who the president is, probably.
Yeah. I think we're like 2 presidencies away from having it be like the Netflix quarterback show where we find out after his term is over, like, oh, we had cameras around this whole time. And here's the behind the scenes documentary of what just happened.
That's pretty. Oh, can you imagine the bidding?
Oh, it would be insane.
Netflix and Hulu and all those. Oh my God. That's a great prediction.
You guys ever been in the White House?
Nope.
I toured it once when I was like a kid. I barely remember it though.
Oh, okay. Because you were a little kid.
Yeah.
I walked past it once.
Walk past it.
Yeah, very nice.
It is a really weird feeling being in that building because you look back and go, the president 200 years ago was like hanging out here. It's an amazing place. There's no question about that. Got a good cafeteria too.
That's the most important part.
Absolutely. But yeah, you get this feeling, and the same with the Supreme Court. The greatest thing about the Supreme Court was, what was it? The justice's name that just retired, the nice little Jewish girl. She's a little tiny woman. What the hell was her name?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, yes. So Catherine and I go to the Supreme Court. There's 8 chairs. Those are just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Her chair was like 3 feet higher than everybody else.
Oh, wow.
Because she was so tiny. It was hilarious. It's like, whoops. But yeah, you get this feeling. I mean, it's you realize all of America's history came out of this building.
That is interesting.
It's really very, very touching.
Yeah. Yeah. DC is an interesting place.
It is. Absolutely. And if you don't go see the United States Marine Corps drill team over on 8th and I, you're nuts, because it's phenomenal. I would not wander around the neighborhood after dark, however. That I would not do, if you know what I'm saying.
I have never seen them.
Oh, my God. The Marine Corps drill team is unbelievable. Do it if you ever get a chance.
Okay.
All right, pal. And any wrap up on the sports? Anything? Just keep winning, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Twins go to Seattle next, and yeah, I mean, if they can, they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card team if they can continue to do basically what they've done, as long as they don't go through another, couple 7-game skids. So
tanking it just a little bit.
Continue to hit the baseball. How about that? They can continue to hit the baseball and score some runs.
I love it, Palomino. We will talk to you in about another week because we're out of here next week. So
enjoy the 4th.
Thank you. You too, sir.
All right. You take care.
Thanks very much. Judd Zulgad, ladies and gentlemen, SKOR North. Take a break. Be right back. Chris Egert joins us right after this. Hi, it's Tom Barnard for Livia Weight Control Centers. Now is the time to get a jump on summer. You could lose up to 20 pounds or more in your first 8 weeks to Livia Way. When you join Livia, you'll receive a personalized and doctor-recommended program tailored to your unique needs, goals, lifestyle. Lifestyle, I think, is the most important part because we all have different lifestyles. Livia's amazing team of registered dietitians and nutritionists will guide you every step of the way, too. You can join Livia today and get your first 8 weeks free. I weighed in this morning, and even though I've been on the road, basically, I've been out of town, then I got back into town, and we're moving. So I'm staying at the new house to get it organized, and Catherine's staying at the other house for a while. Now, she finally came, we're staying together. But with all of that, we don't have any food in the house or any of that stuff because moving from one to another. So I've been eating at restaurants for basically about the last 7, 8, 9, 10 days, something like that. Dropped another pound this week, though, which I'm looking forward to. 227. My goal is 213. So I'm down within just a couple of clicks, if you know what I'm saying. Right?
Right.
14 pounds ago, 13, 14 pounds ago. So thank you again to Livia for that. Join Livia today. Get your first 8 weeks free. Visit livia.com. That's livea.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA. And Livia is now offering GLP-1 medications. Quiet the food noise and see accelerated results by summer. Visit livia.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA. Start your weight loss journey now. Get a jump on summer the Livia way.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and ship issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be, I just mentioned, I'm going to a lot of restaurants the last 7, 8, 9 days. When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market, the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation, 48-minute evaluation. You got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, but, you know, all investments involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not, and he's got some opinions. I would say that. There's no question about it. Do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Look who got off his ass and showed up for work today. Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. I like that shirt. Where'd you get that shirt?
I think it came from a place called Hammermade.
Hammermade?
Hammermade, yep.
Okay.
Make quality shirts.
Quality shirts with a hammer? What the hell is Hammermade?
The Hammermade guy does all the, like, a lot of the shirts for the pro sports teams and stuff around town.
Oh, is it because you have broad shoulders so you can wear them?
No, I never said that at all.
He's an athlete. That's why.
He's got that athlete money. That's why he's
big dough.
That's right, Kevin. You got it, buddy.
He took that well, I thought. Really, really well. So the big debate is tonight. I suppose that's the top story in the news, huh?
Yeah, I'm obviously I'm assuming you're going to stay up late and watch it, right, Tom? I mean, you're getting up later now.
Yeah. Oh, listen to you. Well, a little later than 3:30 in the morning. That is true. They're installing our TVs in the new place. We still don't have any furniture in it, but there's a bunch of clothes piled up in the corner because there are no drawers to put them in.
Oh my God, I hate moving so much. I'm sorry.
I do too.
It's just such a pain in the ass.
Look, it's wonderful. It's a great neighborhood. Our old neighborhood was wonderful. The new neighborhood's wonderful. There's no question about it. But it's going to take us about a month to move from one house to another.
Yeah.
A month.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, then I found out, this is my impression of Catherine. You know, the other house over there and all that furniture, it doesn't really fit with this place. We're going to have to buy all new furniture. Oh, Jesus. Great. Wonderful.
Yeah. There's always that. Like the house has a different vibe.
Oh, yeah.
I know. So your TV is going to be working for the debate tonight?
Yes, it is. There are no chairs to sit in, so I'm going to have to stand and watch it. But, you know.
Grab a sleeping bag, throw it out on the floor.
We're sleeping on inflated mattresses. That's where you sleep because the beds haven't been moved yet. So you got the inflatable mattresses. They're pretty good now, though. They're very
they've come a long ways. Like their own pump inside of them, and they're up off the floor a little bit. And I should go home and take a nap so I can stay up and watch the debate tonight, because otherwise I'm gonna have to get up early and watch it before I come. So I got to see how the day plays out, which will work better.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, we were talking about the fact that the debate is being hosted. It's on CNN, being hosted by Jake Tapper and then whomever. And I don't know. It's just one of those deals where I'm not even going to bother to watch it. Why? They're just going to yell at each other and you're a prick. No, you're a prick. You're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. Who needs it?
Yeah, but you kind of like just want to see, right? Like I do. And I really don't want to wait and rewatch it tomorrow before I come to work, because it's not the same. It's like, to me, it's like when you DVR a game and then you go back and watch it a day later. It doesn't have the same.
No, you're right.
And to watch it real time, then you get on your phone and see the social media and see, I don't know. It's what I heard. This was interesting yesterday. I heard, I think I was listening to CNN's coverage for a while, and they were talking about that there's going to be like 1,000 journalists all in this, in this holding area while the debate's going. And then there's going to be representatives from both the campaigns in that room, like working the media to like try to spread the message that their candidate did better or their candidate did this or their And then I don't know why that struck me. And this is just, I don't know what goes on in the room, and I don't know how that crap works. That seems crazy to me. Like, it's just like everyone in the media is sitting in one room, and then they're going to kind of sit there and collectively decide how it went. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of seems like it's a bunch of horse crap. Like, I guess I would think, and I know they're not like going to make a vote or anything. It's not like all 1,000 journalists are going to all decide the same thing, but it does seem a little sketch that like the campaigns are going to be working the room and trying to, no, here's what I think you should be saying. And you know what I'm saying? It just kind of feels kind of sleazy.
I agree with you 100%. Well, it's all a scam. It's all about making CNN's going to make a lot of money because they're going to run ads, and this one's going to make a lot of money. I just wish at one of these debates, when they get in these heated arguments, they would follow the legendary Richard Pryor with his response when a guy insulted him once. Richard Pryor, being insulted, said, "You're lucky I'm a Christian man. I'd be down there kicking in your ass." Wouldn't it be great if a president or a guy who wants to be president again would actually say that to his opponent? I would love it.
I would love, I don't know. I just, everything's so, by the way, rest in peace, Richard Pryor. What a freaking treasure of him.
God, I love
that was.
I love them.
I just, the whole thing, I think people are so disenchanted with it, just the political process and whatnot. But then you get something like this, and it's like, well, you have to, like, I've got to watch, because there's going to be something that's going to happen where you're like, oh my God, I can't, good, bad, or I feel like it's going to be like watching a car crash or a car fire. Like Hannah had a car fire this morning, and people stop what they're doing and they look when there's a car fire. They just do. And I feel like that's kind of like what tonight's going to be. Like, there's a car fire on. Oh God, let's go see what's happening on the TV screen.
Right. I mean, one thing that kind of affects me, I've been watching it lately because of the, prices soaring on food and everything, right?
Yep.
Well, I had like 4 bills that I had to pay, and because we're moving, I can't find where I put my stamps. So I asked Catherine if she had any stamps, and she had some leftover Christmas stamps. So I using those. And I said, honey, these are 42-cent stamps. Is that she said, oh, those might be a year old. So let me check. When I was a little boy, a stamp to mail a letter was 4 cents, had a picture of Abraham Lincoln on it. It was 4 cents. It is now 52 cents. Jeez. It has gone up 13 times. I mean, what is that?
Well, it's so funny too, because they're like, they're forever stamps. Well, forever what? You're gonna raise the price again.
That's very true.
You know what I mean?
Or what is a good way to look at it.
I mean, stamps, it's everything. I think if one of those candidates could go up there tonight and not just with a bunch of bluster, go up there and clearly state how they're going to put more money into people's paychecks, I think that would be a huge, huge thing. But I guess I just expect to hear more of the same.
Yeah, I anticipate it being a lot of, foolishness going on, and like Trump trying to hit this. Like, I want to know if they have a mute button themselves on the podium, because if he's in charge of hitting the mute button, or if it's like somebody off camera.
It looks like it's the moderators are going to have like two buttons in front of their podium, essentially, that can go either side. Which I'm in, Chris, your point earlier, and I know you got to go here soon, but you mentioned like, it's fun to watch it in time, and I'm going to be busy, but I'm going to try to get home so I can watch it, because it's kind of an event, I feel like. But I'm anxious to see how people react to what we've maybe grown accustomed to, which is like this back and forth, cutting each other off. Nothing really gets accomplished, and it seems like they're going back to a more professional, frankly, boring structure. I want to know if that disinterests a lot of Americans, or if people are like, this is refreshing, it's nice. I'm anxious to see how that reaction is once it's all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, sorry to change subjects here real quick, but the house that was by the dam fell into the river early yesterday morning, I believe.
Yep.
Do you have any update on kind of how that family's doing, or that kind of community as a whole?
I do. They started a GoFundMe, and it sounds like I have that on my stack of stories here, Tevin. They started a GoFundMe, and people have been really like, let's see, online fundraiser. I don't have an amount on it, but I do know that a lot of people have been getting behind that. I'm guessing we've got a link on our website too. And now they're watching this County Road 9 bridge, was apparently behind where the Rapidan dam on the Blue Earth River, because that's appearing to show some, potential for failure. But as far as the dam itself, it's not going to fail now because the hillside failed.
Yeah.
Everything else went around it. And I do know that Mankato area officials were adamant that no matter what, even if the dam fails, it's not going to send like a wall of water downstream. It's already the way they have everything set up, it just won't do that. I mean, it'd be a big loss for, the area there, but it wouldn't be a matter of causing widespread flooding. It sounds like the flows are already, where they're going to be. And I don't think they're going up from here unless we get some crazy another weather event. But
I told you to get rid of them by the time I got back.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Tommy.
Put your finger over your camera.
No, it's one of those deals where the guy showed up. Ben is his name. Great kid. He showed up to install our TVs in our new house. And I just realized that when somebody calls you, you just hit 9 and it lets them in. But not quite so remotely.
Oh,
so I had to call Catherine and tell her, get downstairs and let them in. Sister.
You need to get that dang TV hooked up.
I got to get it hooked up the Twins won last night. Didn't get to see any of it. So that's good.
Well, you couldn't see it anyway, even if you had your TV.
Yeah, well, that's true. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So our house now, we've got like about 16 different Netflix, and we got Prime, and we got Hulu, and we got all these different deals. How do you shut them down at one house and then add them on to the next house?
You got to just log into all of them when you start up. Yes.
It's some of them when you hit log in. So if you're logged into, Amazon or Hulu on your phone, they'll put a QR code up, and then you just scan it and it'll automatically communicate.
That's it. That's going to be about a 4-day job, Tommy.
Yeah.
We're passing that on to Andy then.
Yep.
Hey, Andy.
All right, you guys, I got to go.
All right. Thank you, sir. Channel 5 Chris Egert is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation, 952-925-5608. I'm in a very good mood because I just saw KP Anderson sitting out in the lobby. I cannot wait. Keaton, come on here next, Kenny.
Oh, absolutely.
KP Anderson, one of my favorites, is coming up next. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Landon and Gavin Miller of D&B Plating.
I've always been impressed with their speed of answers to our questions, and that has allowed us to expand and capitalize on opportunities in the market.
North American Banking Company has never made us feel like a number. They've always treated us as a partner.
For more information about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com or stop by any one of their Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
K&L Surplus and Ammo in Atlanta Lakes is my choice for firearms and ammunition. Jim, the owner, is one of the most knowledgeable people in the business and is great at getting you into the right firearm for your needs. We've talked about that before. You need the right firearm. Jim's a guy who can get it done for you. K&L Surplus and Ammo now carries Benelli shotguns that offer enhanced performance, amazing reliability for uses ranging from waterfowl hunting to skeet shooting and more. I highly encourage you to stop in, talk with Jim and the rest of the K&L Surplus crew. Between their superior knowledge of firearms, friendly customer service, overall stock, and fair pricing, I can't imagine a better location to purchase your next firearm. K&L Surplus and Ammo is on Lake Drive in Atlanta Lakes, open Tuesday through Saturday. You can reach them by phone at 763-757-2614, or you can also visit them online at www.klgunstore.com.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. KP Anderson in studio with us, and it's a good thing that I learned how to read because I got to read this whole descriptor.
Oh, my Lord.
I have to do it. You got some shows at ACME today at 8 p.m., Friday and Saturday at 7 and 9:30. In addition to being a respected comic, he made eye contact. I wanted him to make eye contact. Minnesota-born KP Anderson is an Emmy award-winning writer and producer, mostly known as the executive producer and head writer of The Soup with Joel McHale. KP has also served as the executive producer of Pickled with Stephen Colbert on CBS. Norm Macdonald has a show, The Joel McHale Show on Netflix, as well as When Nature Calls with Helen Mirren on ABC. As a writer and producer, KP has also worked with comedy legends Kevin Hart, Ken Jeong, Nikki Glaser, Bill Maher, Wayne Brady, Tim Allen, and Tevin Pittman now. Legend.
Yeah, and Tevin's the only one I'm fond of in any regard whatsoever. For the record,
I did. It's interesting that you bring that kind of thing up because somebody's name just came up, and you get to know people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one of these kind of guys that just pretends to like somebody. If I don't like it, it's like, who are we just talking about? I just said, what a prick that guy is. We're just talking about.
We're gonna have to narrow it down further than
that. Well, KP and I are meeting in the middle on that one because it doesn't sound like
there was when I was doing the Norm show. There was a day like Norm working with Norm was just it was a slot machine. You just put the money in, pull the lever, and what you got, he called me in one day and he goes, "Oh hey KP, by the way, I hired someone." And I was like, yeah, we don't have any spots available for hiring someone. He goes, yeah, it's Dennis Miller's kid. And,
oh, God.
And I was like, okay, cool. So we met Dennis's kid, and Dennis's brother, Rich, is a good friend from back here in Minneapolis. brought him on. We found the money, brought him on as a PA on the show. And our first guest that he was on the show for was Chevy Chase. And so Norm's talking to Chevy and says, who do you who do you like of the Weekend Update people? And he goes, well, I'll tell you who I hate is that fucking Dennis Miller. And he goes off on just how much he can't stand Dennis. So I see Holden Dennis's kid after the show, and I was like, hey man, I'm sorry you had to hear that. And he goes, oh, it's not like my dad wasn't sitting around the couch today sometime going, you know who's a real prick is that Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I could see those two not getting along.
Yeah,
that does make sense.
Yeah, there's some oil and water there.
Yeah, no question about that. But I just, I've had both of them on the show. Dennis is a really smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I saw him at the Kravis Theater down in West Palm Beach a few years ago. The place was packed, and some guy starts hazing him.
Yeah.
From the audience, like, we're here to see a show. Shut up, pal.
Mm-hmm.
But he kept doing it. And finally, Dennis Miller just dropped his head down. He dropped his head down and goes, sir, I have absolutely no ability to pay attention to you and do this. And it was just, I can't do them both. I'm not smart enough to do both. It was just absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
I just being around that whole situation. And by the way, I wish Joe would come in to see this too, because I haven't seen Joe in a while.
Yeah, I'll tell him. He'll pop by.
Oh, he should, because I always liked him.
That man loves the sound of his own voice. He will show up anywhere, anytime.
And where did he all work? He worked a lot of places.
Yeah, so he was he kind of worked his way up. Like, I think he started out in somewhere in Wisconsin. I don't want to say Eau Claire, but it was like River Falls doing country, and then he moved to St. Cloud, and then he kind of settled in for a while at K-Fan.
Yep.
He was with Barrero, and he had his own show for a little bit.
Right.
And then he did some fill-ins on WCCO for like he'd pop in every once in a while, but he's my brother. I love him dearly. He is absolutely that guy that when something does not sit right with him, he just will not. And he did not like answering to ratings books and notes off of ratings books.
Yeah.
And he just went, this isn't for me. So he went and sold real estate and did well doing that. And, and then he had a podcast for a little while, but he kind of bounces out. Now he's actually got a great gig. He's the media relations director for the PWHL Minnesota team. He's had a few weeks that weren't as much fun, but I mean, won a championship first year, and his daughter's playing college hockey out at Endicott in Boston, and so free tickets to Boston to go to those games, and then go up and bug his kid. And my daughter's in Boston, and we're in Connecticut now, so it was a good time to like actually kind of have family reunions outside of
absolutely. Well, you got to mention your own child now, because I mean, you just mentioned to me what they're doing. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, she's something. She's my daughter Sophia. She's going into her fourth year at Northeastern University in Boston. She's majoring in applied physics with a minor in chemistry. And
no,
I don't know.
Yeah, trust me. I know.
I don't even think I could repeat that back to you.
Yeah, I know. She calls and she just talks, and she'll talk me down her day. And I'll just be like, wow, like dad ate a gummy just before this call, just so you know.
You're all taken care of. So they both chose Boston, or did you choose it for them?
No, they chose Boston. We were still in Los Angeles at the time. And our kid wanted to get out of LA. She was like, she was very anxious to go experience something other than Los Angeles and weather. And she really loves Minnesota. University of Minnesota was actually on the menu, and she applied to a bunch of colleges. She got into a bunch that she wanted to get into, but she didn't get into the one that she really wanted, which was MIT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I remember it was middle of the pandemic, and I was sitting out on my front step in our old house in LA, kind of the NBC Universal Tower in Toluca Lake overlooked our front step. And she comes out, and I'm sitting, sun's going down, and I got a glass of bourbon in my hand, and she walks out, says, I made my decision. I said, okay, cool. Where are you going? And she goes, Minnesota Science and Engineering. And I went, oh, interesting. Cool. I said, what's a thought behind it? And she said, well, grandma's there, and I can see her and do my laundry, and Uncle Joe's there and the kids. And I was like, wait, you're going to college to see your grandma? And And she goes, look, I
Yeah.
know Northeastern had offered her this great package and they had the right school for what she wanted to do. And she said, I know Northeastern is the right school for me, but I just don't know that I can be across the river from MIT and not have it just burn me forever.
Oh,
She had gotten deferred and then put on the wait list and, went through the whole thing. And I pointed at the NBC Universal Tower and I went, do you have any idea how many times those motherfuckers have canceled me? And how many times they've not given me the job that was the job I should have had? And what do you think has gotten me back during this miserable plague back into that office and writing? It's looking at that building. I was like, if you got to go to Northeastern and go across the river to, do snow angels on MIT's front lawn every morning, that's what you got to do if you need a chip on your shoulder. And she was like, oh, cool. I'll go to Northeastern. I was like, okay, great piece of parenting, Dad.
KP, it's amazing to me that you had any bumps in the road at all and I didn't realize I haven't seen you for 15 years.
I know, it's nuts, isn't it?
Good God. It seems like it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they came over. That's when the podcast was being done out of the house. And by the way, you've been to my house.
Yeah.
My 8-year-old granddaughters did the show the afternoon, or not the afternoon, but the family show with us yesterday. She's 8.
Yeah.
She starts talking about that house. She goes, my grandparents had a mansion with about 20 bedrooms. I'm like, you must have been in a different house than I was because I don't remember that one. What the hell are you talking about?
It's funny, when we're kids, we remember everything from we're kids, like
Much
vastly different.
Yes,
I drove by my parents' house in Cambridge, Minnesota the last time I was here. And I was like, wow, I thought we were doing okay, huh?
Yeah, well, it is a different deal. Yeah, just the perspective of the whole deal. It's like, would you settle? But yeah, you came in and you had family with you. Joe came along and that was I'll never forget that day.
Yeah.
You were on fire at that point. That show was very, very popular.
Yeah.
So what happened to that show? Why did that show go away?
The soup basically went down. That was, what was it? 2015, 2016, I think that we did 12 years, 50 weeks a year, making fun of other people's hard work. It was great. Put the kid through private school. It was like all you could ask for. And then ultimately, Joel and I have a small disagreement, Joel McHale and I, over why we went down. He is convinced that we went down because the writers, like 2 years prior, the writers had taken the show into the Writers Guild. And, I sort of led that charge, or I didn't lead the charge. I supported the charge and Joel supported it as well. But, what the thing that he did that he's very right about, or NBC Universal did that he's very right about, is they started taking all of our reruns. Like we used to generate millions of viewers over the course of a 5-day run of the show. And all of a sudden we were down to like our primary airing and then maybe one more. And so the numbers softened on it a little bit. I do think that we covered reality shows. Daniel Tosh covered, viral video.
Right.
And I think that that was certainly a bend in the road that affected our viewership and where people's trends were at the time. And then I think the other thing that was big was Joan Rivers died and Chelsea Handler quit, and we were the only half-hour comedy on E, besides Sex and the City reruns. And so they didn't have anything to pair us off with inside the hour. Like we were always the Soup and Chelsea or the Soup and Fashion Police back to back. And so, ultimately 16 years, you can't really complain. We got together, Joel and I got together with Paul Feig, we rebooted the show on Netflix, called it the Joel McHale Show with Joel McHale. We did 19 episodes. So 700 episodes of the Soup, 19 episodes of that one. Every time Joel and I talk, we go somewhere in the middle was the number. Like somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were both, by the time we ended the Soup, we were both pretty burnt out on like trying to, it's like kind of like being the White Stripes, like trying to make the same two instruments sound different every time. And we burned out a little bit on like, what do we have left to say about Rob Kardashian? It
was wonderful though. I never ever missed that show. I loved that show. And I got to do this too because it's me, and I just won't get over if I don't. Speaking of pricks, Daniel Tosh. Anyway,
I've literally only met him once in my life, and this was I think it was at the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, and he wasn't, his show hadn't taken off. The only thing I remember about him, like I got introduced to him, and the whole time we were talking, like he kept looking over my head at the back wall. And it could be an Asperger's thing. It could be something else, but it comes off as prick.
Yep. It does.
Yep. Yeah.
You're 100% right. Yeah. So maybe I judged him too quickly. Is that what
I don't know. I know people who really love him, but I also know that like people in comedy will tell you he's one of the most unknowable people
Yeah,
in comedy.
he really
Like,
is. He's a very weird guy.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
No question. But that whole era, God, I wish there were things like that on TV now where you just tuned in. Joel did a hell of a job hosting that show. There's no question about that. And he's always been very pleasant with me and all the rest. I haven't talked to him in a while now, but it was just one of those things. It was a go-to for me. It was very, very funny. I mean, whether you know it or not, that you did put a little bit of a Minnesota twist on things, which I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was terrific.
I think that was like sort of, it helps that, you know, Joel's from Seattle and he's got, it's not a Midwestern point of view on things, but it's definitely sort of like comedically, it's a more down to earth point of view. And I think that between us and the writing staff that we just had the brilliance of him when we decided what the show was going to be. Like when I came on board and we kind of went, okay, so how do we make this thing work? I think the brilliance of him was he always, you know, his mentality was he would love us to take celebrity gossip and then bag on the celebrities. And he was like, I don't want to. He's like, I want to, you know, I'd love one day if I could appear in a Tom Cruise film. You know, if he's jumping up and down on the couch professing his love for Katie Holmes on Oprah, we'll show that and we'll punch at that level. But we're not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna say he's a shitty actor. He's not.
No, he's not. That's
true. And so he kind of set that tone of like, what is it that we, you know, what is our point of view? And I think my contribution to that was the way that we introduced and went after everything. For the most part, there were certain shows that we just couldn't stand and we couldn't help ourselves. But a lot of the time, knowing that the meat of our audience were reality show fans, we felt like we couldn't say this sucks, that sucks. Then eventually they go, why am I watching this show? So instead, our whole attitude was like, oh God, you got to see this. And that's how we approached it. And then once they saw it, then we were free to make whatever joke we wanted.
That's wonderful. Can you take a quick break?
Sure.
Can you stay with us for
absolutely
about another 25 minutes?
Love to.
God, it's phenomenal having you. It's great to see you.
It's good to be back.
16 years. That's unbelievable.
I know.
I cannot. I think the last time I talked to you, you were in San Diego and you were off going somewhere. But I was not talking.
I think so. Yeah. We hopped on the phone to talk about, trying to remember what it was. Might have been a golf tournament or something.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
Something like that. KP, ladies and gentlemen, KP Anderson at ACME today, 8 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 7 and 9:30. Back more with KP right after this. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever. When you use promo code TOM, you get free shipping on your entire order. You get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98. And take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM, and you can get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
I've been tracking the weather in Minnesota for a long time. I'm 5 Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Ken Barlow. In the morning, I've got to be right because my forecast affects your family's entire day. And in the evening, you can count on my friend, Ren.
That's right, Ken. I'm 5 Eyewitness News Evening Meteorologist Ren Claire. And as a Minnesotan, I know our weather can be tricky. Throughout the day and into the night, I've got you covered with an accurate forecast to help keep your family safe and ready for any weather.
And don't forget, no matter how things change or what time of day, you'll always get our forecast first at the start of every newscast on 5 Eyewitness News. Start your day with me, Ken Barlow.
And wrap up your day with me, Ren Claire.
Because 5 Eyewitness News is always tracking our weather, so you're always alerted first. It's why 5 Eyewitness News is Minnesota's weather authority.
When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
KP Anderson in studio. I want to back off for a second because I know you two probably want to ask a question or two, and I'm kind of dominating the whole thing. I don't, I don't mean to be doing that.
Oh, no, you're good. It's all good conversation. But KP, obviously you're at ACME. You said you've been there 15 years ago, and your first show now back is today, right?
Yeah, it's been that long. I popped in over the holidays. I was in town with my wife and kid, and my buddy Tim Harmston was headlining, and he was like, "You got to come down."
Great guy.
Yeah, and I had sort of I never really quit stand up, but I just like during the years of the Soup, Joel and I toured for like 3 years in the middle. We were out almost every weekend together, and towards the end of that, I was like, I'm gonna watch my kid grow up for a little bit. Like I'm working out all week. I shouldn't take off on the weekend. So I just kind of took a step back and only did guest spots while I was producing a bunch of shows. And then during the writers' strike this year, and we had moved to Connecticut, and we were right by New York City, and I just started popping up at the New York clubs. And next thing you know, I'm standing at ACME, and Lewis Lee is going, "Hey, why don't you come in the summer and do a week?" And I went, "Oh, that means I got to get 45 minutes to an hour to get." Okay, sure, let's do it.
There you go.
Sort of threw down, and here we are.
All right. So I'm assuming then a lot of new material, and has stylistically your style of comedy kind of changed and adapted as you've grown over the past?
Yeah, I mean, from when I was headlining, back in the early 2000s, when I was coming through like the sort of the tail end of when I was headlining clubs around the place, I was still, I'd just gotten married, but I was still very much, angry young man, broke guy, all that stuff. And so that was fueling everything. And I think now it's more sort of shot out of like same guy after having done a few things but sitting on the other end of an empty nest and trying to figure out what to do at the time. And, that's pretty much the point of view. That doesn't sound that funny now that I think about it. It just sounds sad. I was alone in the basement and my wife told me to go talk to people.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
AJ, you got anything?
Yeah. What like point in your career or just in your life did you kind of have that instance of, I kind of know what I'm doing in this
Actually,
field?
weirdly, I'm not hearing you on my headset.
You're not?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Can someone please translate AJ's question?
He said, "What the hell's the matter with you, KP?"
Yeah.
That's what he just said. I don't know what he meant.
Yeah. Oh, that's a longer podcast.
Why don't you come in here and ask him?
Yeah.
Well, Tevin, you wanted just to ask him what I said?
Wait, did you? Can you repeat that? I really wasn't listening.
When did he find out he had talent in this field?
Yeah, when so what AJ said is he doesn't think you're that funny.
Yep. Cool.
Here he comes.
Cool.
Here he comes.
Accepted.
He was just saying, like, at what point in your career did you know you want to be a comedian? Was it like you saw a comedy album as you were young, or you just kind of stumbled into it?
About 38 minutes into last night's set at ACME is when I decided I could do this. Fantastic question, AJ. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very honestly, I think it's funny. I was talking to someone about this the other day because when my daughter was in town last weekend or 2 weekends ago, I took her to the Electric Fetus and I got to buy her Prince's 1999 on vinyl. She collects vinyl. And it kind of reminded me like there were two kind of like seminal moments for me in Cambridge, Minnesota. Right. The first was sitting in my buddy Kyle's basement with 1999 playing and him going, "This guy's from Minneapolis."
Yep.
I mean, going, "What?" And thinking I could never do that. And then like seeing Louis Anderson on his PBS special, in whenever it was, 1984, 1985, and my mom going, "This guy's from Minnesota," and thinking, I think I could do that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. And
That's
just
wonderful.
going, this is the thing I think. And Louis was so like kind of the reason I got back to stand up as one of the things that I'm doing on a fairly regular basis is that the day Louis passed, I was in a meeting in Culver City in California. I was driving home, and when I heard that Louis died, And I literally, he had been badgering me for years to like get back up and do more. And he was always going, "You're so funny. Why don't you?"
There he is.
Yeah. And so I went, you know what? I'm just going to turn left. I'm going to go into the club and I'm going to see if anybody has any clue who I am and if they'll put me up for a few minutes. And luckily the club booker did. The owner literally went, "You're right. I have no idea who you are." And thankfully the booker was like, "I do. Please go on." And so I went on and I did 10 minutes, and it's just kind of like I think I threw a lot into that show because I wanted to, I wanted to make sure that like I did my friend proud, and it just felt great. And so yeah.
AJ, I want you to try those headphones, see if, if you could hear them with those on.
All right.
Doesn't mean it's going to work because it's AJ. But
I actually have in my rider that I don't have to listen to what AJ says on my appearances.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
You able to hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Oh, good. Excellent.
You're figuring it out.
Yeah.
So it was you that dropped the ball by giving them those headphones.
Yeah. Apparently, I was like, you know what? How can we sabotage AJ today? And
what would work is if I had turned them to on.
That would have done it.
Oh my God.
That would have done it. No question.
No,
you're just talking about Louis, and I missed the hell out of Louis because he became a great friend. He and my mother became great friends. My mother
Louis.
adored him, and he adored my mother. First time I ever met him, Catherine is with me. My wife is with me, and we're talking, just having a little lunch or whatever. And he's talking to me and talking to me and talking to me. So I'm like where you are, and Catherine's where Tevin is. And he's talking to me. He goes, and all of a sudden he looks at Catherine and goes, "You ever notice your husband's really self-involved?" Gee, thanks, Louis. I really appreciate it. Really nice of you, Louis. But he was just, God, what I love that.
That was. I mean, to me, that was the best thing about him is that he was genuinely that nice.
Yeah.
But he was also that fast and that sharp.
Oh, yeah.
And he was, and he could cut you so hard, and all you could do was laugh.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Jeff Gerbino was just in studio last week, and he brought up the fact that when Louis started, he was a prop comic. Wow. I can't see him as a prop comic at all.
No.
It's like
I didn't even know that.
I didn't either. I had no clue. But Jeff was in last week, and I haven't seen him in probably 15 years either.
Yeah, how's he doing? He's good. Did he come back here? I didn't know he was in Florida for a while.
Yeah, he was in. I think he still lives in Florida, but he just came back. I think he came to ACME, didn't he?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I believe he was at ACME.
I think he was at ACME. Yeah. So I mean, to see everybody back, because that whole pandemic thing and all the rest of it was such a pain in the ass, and nobody's moving around coming in. But that was my whole. I was just talking before he got here this morning about Lonnie Anderson is in studio, and Bobcat Goldthwait just comes walking through the door. He went after her like, oh my God, it was unbelievable. Those were the days, man, on that KQ morning show. That it was just unbelievable.
It was that, and that, by the way, was another part of because I grew up with it, and it was such a part of that of having a point of view, and getting past Minnesota nice is something that I think you did really well on that show. Was like funny that we weren't going to be exposed to under normal confines.
Minnesota nice, that's true.
Yeah,
where did that go?
Yeah,
that went away to somewhere. I don't know what the hell that's all about. But I'm just so happy that. I was not happy that the Joe McHale show went off. The Soup with Joe McHale was a wonderful show. You moved on to other things, and all the rest of it Joel did as well. Joel just can't seem to find a TV show that works for him.
Well, it's interesting. He, he's got like Animal Planet, the show that he's got on Fox, is doing well. There's a business model behind that that I would highly, especially since nobody's picking up anything, but they just saw the Yahtzee strike or the potential Yahtzee strike. That's the labor union, like the cameramen and grips and stuff like that. They just resolved that, and it seems like the Nets might get back in the streets, and we all might start working on shows sooner than later again.
Wonderful.
But what they did with what Fox did with that show is they own it wholly. They're not, they don't have another studio providing it, which has good and bad to it. But the folks at Fox picked it up for basically 3 seasons and shot the first one, and then they shot the second 2 back to back. Which I think it's growing. I think it's getting better, and I think that it's like shows need time. They need
Yeah.
time to find themselves. And, you know, this sort of like, we'll give you 8 episodes, we'll give you 6 episodes kind of thing is, almost doesn't matter what kind of show it is. It needs some time to figure itself out, and it needs some time to figure out how to do it, you know, effectively and good and cheaply and all the other stuff that we have to do now. And I think that he's getting a good shot with that. And I do hope that it sort of starts to creatively elevate to what, you know, obviously I feel he deserves. But also, Crime Scene Kitchen on Fox is doing well for him. He's got a lot of little projects. He and I have a piece that we're hoping will get picked up, that we took out and pitched together not that long ago, that we're hoping will get picked up. So every time I talk to him, I'm just more like, are you done with your paper route this morning? Like, he just takes every friggin' job he can find, and like one of them's gonna work out. And you go, great, cool. I think they're all working out in some way for you, pal.
No, he is so talented, and you guys, I think part of his kind of personality development came from working with you, though, because you guys bounced off each other and worked together really, really well.
Yeah, we found a place pretty early. I mean, I got the job. The show had been, it was called the What the Awards, which was a terrible name before I came on. And Ted Harbert, who ran E at the time, called me and said, hey, I got this show that I'm probably going to cancel in 10 weeks. The guy is really talented, but he's a massive pain in my ass. An executive gives notes and he goes straight to my office and starts yelling at me like he was selling wine 2 weeks ago, and now he's doing this. And he goes, if you can keep him out of my office for 10 weeks, I'll give you your next job. Ooh. And so I met with Joel. We hit it off. He liked me because of like the 4 or 5 people who interviewed to get the job. They were firing the writing staff and the head writer and everything. And somewhere along the way, Ted had decided to call it the Soup because it was just talk soup without the talk show clips.
Yeah.
We sat down and met, and Joel was like, well, you're getting the job because you're the only one who's ever watched the show. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay. So then we just kind of like, we hit it off. We still bicker. Like, we never really fought. The only time we had a massive fight, and this is like the 12 years, somewhere around year 11 and 6 months, NBC Universal had us go to New York for some ad council thing where, you know, I was writing a speech and Joel was presenting something. And so we flew out separately, and I was on Delta and he was on American. I think it was American. Yeah. And we met at the top floor of the Mandarin Oriental in Columbus Circle at the bar. And we immediately got into the biggest fight we'd ever gotten into over who had the better first class, Delta or American.
Oh, God.
And it literally got to the point where people were like looking, going, why is the big guy from Community going to throw the little man through the window? We were screaming at each other. And then at the end, like, he was like, what the hell is this about? This can't be about, because I was absolutely just digging in. And he goes, what is, and I was like, I don't think I want to do my contracts up at the end of the year, and I don't think I want to do another one. And he goes, oh, wow, I was going to tell you the same thing. I got a year, but I was going to try to get out of it. And then we just went out and got drunk and wandered around the city and had a good time. But
that's how it should be.
It was just then when we rebooted it on Netflix, that was a different circumstance. It was funny. That happened because Paul Feig lived around the corner from me, the director, and he was a regular guest on The Soup, and he loved the show, and he's constantly talking about how, he would, if he was in Romania making a movie, he would find a way to bootleg the show so he'd be able to see it. And he said, and I was just out getting stuff out of my car, and he was in a 3-piece suit walking his dog, and he goes, oh, glad I ran into you. I was thinking maybe, and I was like, let's call Joel. I don't know. And so we went up and called Joel, and I like free money. And so next thing you know, we threw a pitch together and we took it out, and we had offers from Hulu and Netflix and YouTube and CNN, weirdly. Really? And we chose Netflix, and we did it. And it was interesting because by then I had my company in an overall deal with Lionsgate Television. So Lionsgate was producing, and we still had fun doing the show. And we still had, like, our head writers for that were Boyd Vico and Brad Stevens, who work with Joel on just about everything. And we had a blast doing the show, but the politics of all of it did kind of threaten us a little bit. So it's almost like just because, I was beholden now to Lionsgate in ways that I never was to E. And so I'm, in a weird way, we've talked about in the past where we're kind of glad that it went down when it did, because Netflix always felt like another negotiation of how do we get to keep this alive? And we'd never had to do that before. Like we just ran with, no one paid attention to us for the first 5 years on E. And then for like 4 years we were hot, and for 2 years we knew we were going down. So yeah, so it was a very different thing to be like, okay, you get 13 and now we're giving you 6, and then maybe we'll give you 4 more, and you're just constantly tap dancing, and Lionsgate was pressuring me to, do what Netflix wanted us to do, and Joel didn't want to do it, and he had other things going on. It was probably all for the better that it ended.
Yeah, it could be. We got to take one more break, come back. KP Anderson tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 8 o'clock at ACME, and then Friday and Saturday at 7 and 9:30. Come back and wrap things up right after this. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Landon and Gavin Miller of D&B Plating.
I've always been impressed with their speed of answers to our questions, and that has allowed us to expand and capitalize on opportunities in the market.
North American Banking Company has never made us feel like a number. They've always treated us as a partner.
For more information about North American Banking Company, go to nabanco.com or stop by any one of their Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
K&L Surplus and Ammo in Lina Lakes is my choice for firearms and ammunition. Jim, the owner, is one of the most knowledgeable people in the business and is great at getting you into the right firearm for your needs. We've talked about that before. You need the right firearm. Jim's the guy who can get it done for you. K&L Surplus and Ammo now carries Benelli shotguns that offer enhanced performance, amazing reliability for uses ranging from waterfowl hunting to skeet shooting and more. I highly encourage you to stop in, talk with Jim and the rest of the K&L Surplus crew. Between their superior knowledge of firearms, friendly customer service, overall stock, and fair pricing, I can't imagine a better location to purchase your next firearm. K&L Surplus and Ammo is on Lake Drive in Lina Lakes, open Tuesday through Saturday. You can reach them by phone at 763-757-2614, or you can also visit them online at www.klgunstore.com. I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard podcast, and I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBernardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBernardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at TomBernardShow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, this final segment with KP Anderson is brought to you by North American. You already got a sponsor. You only been here for an hour.
That's right. I will be collecting my check from AJ on the way out.
The way it works.
Cool. Thank you.
North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
That check's definitely bouncing, by the way. Just
yeah, there you go. We were just talking about family and how you moved around to try to stay close to your children, and I was talking about I miss my kids even though they were right across the river in St. Paul. But that's a huge part of the whole deal, the family element of all of this for me, because I mean, in your situation, nationally very well known, and I'm locally a public figure. they go through a lot as they're growing up, watching people either fawn all over you or being mean to you or whatever. They have a different childhood. There's no question about that.
It's really funny. Like my daughter, Sophia, she grew up, the meat of her, she was 3 when we started the soup, and she was 14 when it ended or something like that, 15. And so she grew up, and a lot of the times she'd just come hang out in the studio. And like when we were doing all these spin-off shows, we did the comment section with Michael Costa, who's on the Daily Show now. And Costa texted me about a month ago a picture from back like our very first day, because he and I had lunch, and I told him that Sophia was at Northeastern and what she was doing, and he texted me this picture that he found of the day that I was like talking with the whole crew and teaching everybody how that show was going to work, and it had a bunch of screens involved and everything. And it's myself and Michael standing next to each other, and our director and all the crew standing around in the semicircle listening, and Sophia just sitting at Michael's desk, like playing with an Arduino board, putting a circuit together, not paying one bit of attention to anything that I was saying. And it was such a cool, like, oh wow, I forget. But yeah, so she's doing something now that Northeastern does, these co-op things where you go do a job in your field for a couple semesters of your undergrad. So she's been working for a company that's working on making hydrogen fuel. It's an MIT startup, and they build these big reactors that are involved in doing it. And so they sent her earlier in the year to Mississippi, where they're building their first big plant. And she calls me and she says, "Dad, every morning I wake up at 5, I drive 45 minutes out to this field where, tons of steel are coming in that I was on the design team for. And I stand with these 40, 50-year-old contractors who are, standing around me, and I tell them how it's supposed to come together and how it's supposed to react when it gets together and all the other stuff." She goes, "And they listen. Why are they listening to the 20-year-old? I thought about it. I'm like, well, it's not like you have no experience pushing around a middle-aged man.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
But yeah, it is funny how that stuff kind of replicates itself down the road.
No question.
And yeah, and she's just, it's the idea of family around you now. I think that's a good sort of byproduct of the pandemic. Is you go like, I like my wife, I like my kid. We made it through that together.
Yeah,
like we're all still tight. Like, I always go like, as the sign of a successful parent is they're alive and they talk to you. Like everything else is bonus miles. Yeah. And so, so it's just amazing my wife and I just kind of decided, like, I'd fought LA to a draw, I felt like, and I was doing the pickleball thing with Colbert. And so I was back and forth anyways. And we sold our house and we're trying to figure out where we were going to go. And we just said to hell with it. We rented a townhouse in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of a story before. Well, I was sitting in New York. I was living in New York doing voiceover, and I got a call from Dave Hamilton. Said, "Hey, you want to come and do the morning show?" And said, "Catherine just told me the day before that we're going to have a baby." And I went, "Oh, I don't know if I want to raise a baby in Manhattan. Is that a good idea?" So I said, "Okay, Dave, I'll come and do the morning show, all the rest of it." But we had been living in New York. I was probably one of the top 2 or 3 voiceover guys in the country, the whole deal. That was until, of course, the local press here called me a racist and a homophobe, which destroyed my career. But,
but until then,
don't tell Tevin that, by the way.
Yeah.
He'd be
I missed that message, I guess.
Yeah, you must have missed that message. That's exactly right. But I will never forget the highlight of my children in my career. They never say, "Oh, you're on TV all the time. Who cares?" Like, you being on TV, you're always on TV. Who cares? But because they're your family. I get home one day and my kids are like, "Oh my God, we heard that commercial. That we're so proud of you, Dad. It's the greatest." I did a voiceover for Monsters Inc. Cheez-Its. They thought that was the greatest thing I had ever achieved in my entire life. "You're doing Monsters Inc. Oh my God." It's like, oh God. Yeah, I just started in the business. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's amazing what they latch on to. I think like Sophia does not have. It's funny, like my friends now who come through Boston who are doing shows, like she will, if Taylor Tomlinson's in Boston, Sophia gets to, like, that's when she taps in. Taylor Tomlinson, John Mulaney, Andrew Santino, like then I get a call and she cares but she was also really early on insistent on, like, she did not want to, when she made new friends at school, I don't know how your kids dealt with it, but when she made new friends at school outside of LA, when she was in LA,
Right.
everybody's parents were in the business
Yeah,
and everybody
yeah,
at the
that's
school
true.
she was at, so it wasn't that big a deal. But when she made new friends in Boston, she was like, hey, like, when we'd come to visit, she'd be like, you don't need to talk about who you're working with right now. You don't need to tell, like as far, like, literally, like, she wanted me to just have airplane conversations and tell people I was in sales or something. She very much wanted to, like, be able to sort of not sit in that place where kids from another place would then become interested in her because of who she had met somewhere along the way, which I was actually proud of her for. I was like, that's a good start to, you know, to just define yourself, get your own identity. I've never been a star, so it's not that big a deal, but it's all of a sudden,
Big name.
you know, yeah,
the big name. But God, Kurt Vonnegut told me a story many years ago about that kind of thing, being famous and all the rest of it. And he said, when you got on airplanes, they'd, so what do you do, sir? Oh, I'm an author. And oh my God. So they would just spend the rest of the 5-7 hours there on the plane talking about his books. And he got tired of doing that.
Yeah.
So he comes on this plane. He's changed his mind. I'm not going to do that anymore. So he gets on the plane, he's sitting next to the guy, and the guy sitting next to him goes, so what do you do for a living? And Vonnegut said, oh, I'm a pipe fitter. And the guy says, I'm president of the Pipe Fitters Union. And they talked about pipe fitting for 7 hours.
The best I ever did on the opposite end of that was I was flying from New York to LA. This is like maybe 15 years ago, 16 years ago. And I was in first class, and NBC Universal put me in first class. I never pay my way for first class. But I'm in the first row of first class on the window. And the aisle seat is empty until Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes on and sits down next to me and stretches out his legs. And I was just like, I looked and then I went, don't bother him. And I flew 6 hours back to LA. And when we landed, he just looked at me and went, you did well.
Oh, see, there you go. How did he fit under the overhead?
I know, it was that is so much big.
Oh,
like,
man.
Good God, he's a huge man.
Wonderful guy, though.
Yeah.
I've talked to him a couple times. Just a really nice man.
Yeah. Did he tell you you're a racist and a homophobe?
No, that was pretty much the Star Tribune, the all the TV stations.
It's I could go on that, but I just feel like there has been such a dive towards two sides of this thing, where there's people, I guess I got to categorize them on the progressive left, and people on the far right who just live to make enemies out of people.
No question.
Yeah, and
no doubt.
And you go, this is as vile and evil as what you're accusing the people you're accusing them of. It's gotten in, and I think that there's become this weird sort of come around where people just don't realize it. Like it comes from a layer of authenticity where they feel like they're being morally just
you're right.
in doing this stuff. And you just go, wow, we are freaking hosed if this is how we're going to continue.
And it's getting worse, I think, instead of better. I just don't understand. I have literally moved to I grew up as a Democrat, then I tried to be a Republican, and then the severe points of both of those parties. So I'm as centrist as they get.
Me too.
Like, I'm right here in the middle. Just calm down. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
Do you think we can possibly, and it has to start with you and me, we'll do it, get people to move back to the middle and stop being such assholes to one another?
I continue to hope that it's possible.
Me too.
But I also weirdly think that, the way you do it is not by shutting down speech, even when people are going, there's a whole movement in comedy that I'm not fond of people who basically, cater to a right-wing audience and try to, and try to push buttons, and they forego jokes in the process of doing it. And then there's great comics who happen to sort of align that way, but they still will extrapolate on what they're doing and make sure that funny is somewhere in there. And I think on the far left, there's another side of it that is, again, it's just like it's sarcastic whining. And you go, that's not our job. Our job is to entertain whoever shows up.
Let's entertain. Let's have a laugh. Let's have a good time. That's why, when I saw you were coming in today, it's like, it brightened my whole day, because the last time I saw you, again, I didn't know it was 16 years ago, but it was like, oh, this is going to be wonderful. Do people not look toward, hey, you know what? When I get home this afternoon, things are going to be great. I'll be around my family. I wouldn't even think of going out with somebody. And the amazing thing about that whole deal is, and I won't go on and on about it, but at the time when they called me those two names, I had not one, not two, but three black men on my show, which they apparently didn't pay attention to. And my friend I grew up with, played football with the whole deal, decided that he wanted to become a woman, changed his name to Lauren, had him on the show to talk about it. So what's this all about? What do you mean? And this is 25, 30 years ago. So they don't even do any research to find out if what they're saying is true.
Yeah.
They just say it.
Yeah. And I think that it's, it's this, it's the purity test thing that you've got to walk in lockstep on a lot of things. Like I do not understand at all why the trans thing is sort of the hill that Dave Chappelle would like to die on. I've watched it. I've seen it. I love Dave. I have as much reverence for Dave as every other comic does.
Oh, yes.
And I just go, if this were your best stuff, I would have an easier time like understanding why you're going down this way. But I do think one of those things in sort of in Dave's messaging of it, which I think is fair, is that you've got a lot of communities who have, an activist population for good reason, but they tend to eat their own whenever people aren't in lockstep with the exact message. And frankly, I think that straight white people do it too, where it's like, you got to allow people to have some level of, I see this for what it is through my own eyes. And I'm trying to make sense of it in my world. And I think that we've made sense of this for you, and now you will accept this is a problem that we're not getting past because everybody's fighting too hard to divide themselves and each other into camps that we shouldn't be dividing into. We should be able to have, the school board meetings shouldn't end with threats of violence and all the other stuff. And people should also be open to the conversation of, hey, we've got limited budgets for schools. What exactly with those 6 hours the kids get, what are we giving them, and how's it moving them forward? And I think that that's all viable conversation.
Yes, no question.
But you don't have to do it with a whole bunch of like shutting out people just for being different either. So it's not easy, but I don't get why we're screaming so much.
Let's all keep pushing toward the middle. That's all I have to say. Look, my mother taught me a great lesson. My father was institutionalized. He's in a mental institution when I was a kid. So my mother ran the show. My mother was a Roman Catholic. And on the wall at our house, the highest picture was Jesus. And then under that was the Pope. And then under that was John F. Kennedy, President of the United States. And the one under that was Dean Martin. So it's like, okay, Mom, I get it.
Yeah. And if you asked the three top ones who they'd like to hang out with, Dean.
It'd be Dean Martin.
Yeah.
There's no question. I'll close. My last statement will be this, and I'll hand it off to you. And by the way, you want to call in, you want to come in, I would love to talk to you more.
Thanks, man. And for that matter, whenever you want to talk, just let me know.
We got to do it. We'll change phone numbers between.
Please,
probably don't want to do it on the air.
Yeah.
But now I forgot what the hell I was going to say. But it's just such a joy to look back. And then you look at, I just cannot believe it was 16 years ago.
I know.
So you go, I don't want to waste any more time. If that was 16 years ago, the next 16 years, I don't want them to go by like that.
Yeah.
So I just learned something today. Just you coming in the studio and telling me it was 16 years, it changed my mind about how I look at time now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just I've been here for 16 days because my mom's been going through some stuff, and my brother and I are working through that. And I didn't mean to be here for 16 days, so I've been here for 16 days with 4 shirts. But it's like. It's being here. Like I really haven't spent more than maybe a week. Like I've been writing this novel for a couple of years that takes place up on Leech Lake. So I went up there for a week last year and sort of camped out in Walker and drove around and got on a boat and fished and went out with the sheriff's rangers. But how much of this state has changed in so many ways, but how there's still this sort of like this pull every time the plane lands here. And now that I've been here for a couple of weeks, I just feel so much more like, I get why I am the way I am. So it still has, like, even though it's been 16 years, it doesn't feel like it because, frankly, I just feel like I'm home.
Yep. No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight at Acme, 8 o'clock, tomorrow, 7 and 9:30, 2 shows, as a matter of fact. But KP, we got to talk more often. It was just wonderful to see you. You brightened my entire week. Not
Thank
just
you, Tommy.
today.
Thank you, man. Do I have one more second for? I just wanted to mention that.
You stay as long as you want.
Yeah, sweet. If you come down to Acme, please do this weekend. But if you come down, I've got 2 great opening acts. Trevor and Sean are astounding. But also, since I've been here 16 days, I've been able to go around town and go to a couple different open mics and Sisyphus Brewing and Acme and other stuff, and seeing what the local talent pool is here. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, I thought my group was good. We had Swartzen and Maria Bamford and John DeBoer and Michael Thorne and myself and so many, Jackie Cation, so many great comics Colleen Cruz, that we had a lot of great it is astounding right now. And it's like, in a good way, kind of going back to what we were talking about with just the differing minds and everything. It's crazy diverse too. And it's all walks of life, and they're all coming from a point of view, and so many of them are great writers and funny. Like, it's exactly what I'd have comedy be. So just, if you come see me, great. But if you come support Minnesota comedy anywhere, just do it, because this is the breeding ground that it used to be and that it continues to be. I will say this, because I've known Nick Swartzen and his family basically his whole life. Wonderful. His mother's wonderful. Sister's great. Rachel's wonderful. His brother, the whole situation. But that old phrase, tit in the ringer, just has to be handed off to Nick. Oh, dude. After the thing, I texted him after the thing in Colorado. I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Weed and altitude, asshole. Leave me alone." You're not my dad. Honestly, God, I got to see Nick. I haven't seen Nick in a couple of years now, too. So he's got to come. I love that guy. Yeah, I know he's on tour. He's going to do Happy Gilmore 2 with Adam, but I think he's also touring. So yeah, he's wonderful. Yeah. Final segment with KP Anderson, brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to anybankco.com to learn more. Remember, FDIC, equal housing lender. So we wrap it up. Do you mind getting a picture? Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you, KP. All right. Thank you. I only do segments that include equal housing lenders. Just so that's exactly right. There's no question about that. Thanks, guys. That's going to do it. Family show up in about 10 minutes.